I'm going to introduce to you someone that I've known for a long time. So long that when we met, people just saw us in this one way, which was girls who liked girls. I think, I don't know. Like it was a time, at least for me, where, transgender, that was on the back of people's minds. It wasn't something that I knew a lot about during the young late teens and early 20s. That could happen a few more times. But so we met during college. And go ahead and introduce yourself and talk a little, just kind of try to give a little explanation of your sexuality.
Okay, explanation.
Yes.
My name's Andy McCasey, and I, as far as like my sexuality.
Just your sexuality.
Okay. I see it. I identify as queer, and I identify specifically that way because I think of gender as something that's fluid, both within myself and with other people, and so like I'm attracted to cis gay men. I'm attracted to queer cis women, and I am not often attracted to straight men nor straight identified women. I think possibly because of the way that gender gets portrayed in some of the things they say and some of the attitudes that come with their gender presentation. I use queer as kind of an umbrella term, and while I have mostly been in relationship and like intimate with cis queer identified women or femmes, queer femmes, I also like am very open as far as attraction.
You use the male pronoun, right?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
I use he and him, but also they and their.
They and their. And you are you using hormone anything?
Yeah. Yes.
Like on and off, or just on, or low dose? Or?
Yeah, fairly low dose, but I'm on it right now, dealing with some financial stuff. So I've been like stretching out recently. I've been stretching out my shots so that I can try to still have a supply until I get either get health insurance or get money enough to feel like I can go to the doctor and get the prescription and get everything.
I'm gonna go back in time a little bit because and I want you to correct me if I say anything wrong, because a lot of this is obviously from my perspective, and what I think is so interesting and funny. When we first met, we were in a similar circle because I think a lot through the people we dated and through the small queer community there. We definitely crossed paths and had we were like kind of acquaintances, but I think we saw each other a lot, like spent a lot, like I have a lot of memories with you, but we were never super tight. And to me, I saw you as a butch woman, and what did you see me as back then in college? What did you see me as? Feel me as?
I guess
Did I seem
similar.
queer? Did I seem like a butch lesbian? Like what were you, do you not really think about that?
Yeah, I think I didn't really think about my friends. I definitely had an awareness of like, like people who are masculine or butch, but I didn't personally claim the identity of butch. And so, and during college, I think I was like often would claim like bisexual because I was like, I could be attracted to men, and I don't want to close that off by claiming like I very rarely identified as a lesbian.
Yeah,
I was often identified. Other people would identify me as a lesbian, but I didn't.
So it felt like a lot at the time. It felt like we were kind of viewed in this similar category, like we were very similar or same. I mean, not same, but just because of that, all the dichotomies and the way people kind of categorize things, we're in the same category. But what I'm hearing now is that not only are we so different, but are even in our little categories we're pretty different, because as you were saying, kind of genderqueer and just having this really open, fluid sexuality, like I am so familiar and feel comfortable with the cis dichotomy that exists with the the cis male and cis female. Like I'm super attracted to the straight, straight. Like, isn't that interesting? I mean, did you know that? Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, so it's like we look the same. We're both trans, but we're like totally different in our sexuality and our tastes and our preferences. I think that's really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also interesting because I felt this like kinship to you, like, yeah, we get each other because we're in a special way, but
Special.
we're in a special club. But there's so many things I really don't understand or can't relate to with your identity. But I love it, and I think it's fascinating, and so that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that blow your mind?
No. I think it's always fun to talk with people.
Yeah. I love people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which part? Does it blow my mind that we're different?
Yeah. No, just kidding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, but looking at us now, I mean, did you know I was going in this direction? Was there a sense to you that we were similar? Like we were trans? Did you ever know we were both sort of trans? Did you know that?
No.
Okay. Because we became friends on the internet, no, on Facebook later in life, you know.
Yeah.
And what I saw was you doing a lot of drag shows.
Mm-hmm.
Drag shows. Tell me what this thing is about the drag shows.
I kind of I don't even know how it necessarily happened. I just wanted to perform more, and I really liked this idea that Chris and I could be creating shows, and I'd seen a lot of queer burlesque happening. And so I often, when I talk about the origins of my gender performance, I talk a lot about the queer femmes that informed that, and that they created a kind of feminist, very open context of performance where there wasn't this sense of like, oh, if you're going to portray a man, this is what a man looks like, or if you're going to portray even a woman, this is what a woman looks like, or this is what sexy looks like. There was a lot of openness, but also really strong like social analysis and social justice lens coming into their work, and so that was exciting for me. I want to do that. I want to perform. So Chris and I were really focused on how to portray femininity and masculinity in this really, and show a lot of tension between the two, but not fulfill stereotypes. That tension and how we both had, like, I now looking back on it, could be like, oh, I was really interested in portraying vulnerable masculinity, and we were also simultaneously interested in portraying strong femininity. So, but I definitely see gender performance as a way that I slowly but steadily like came into my own sense of trans identity and gender and wanting to have my physical appearance. It was kind of like, think of it as performing as personal transformation, and it was a process that for me really, the performing masculinity really paved the way for me to be more comfortable in this idea of wanting a more masculine body, and being seen outside by the public as more masculine, not necessarily a man per se, but like this weird thing of like I don't want to be seen as a straight guy, but I did want to be seen in a more masculine way. Yeah.
And I'm gonna say something about your story that's really valuable for people to understand, and that is some people are scared when they're queer and they want to change from being this kind of visible woman with another woman, you know, and in this queer community, and they're like, well, if I transition, queer women won't even notice me, and that's what I'm attracted to, you know. And you are living proof, and that you can be transgender and you can be transitioning with using hormones. You know, you can change your body, but still be able to date beautiful queer women, and that's still there for you. You don't get shut out from that community necessarily.
Yeah, I've been really lucky, and I think part of it also has to do with my approach to, like, I think some trans men identify, or trans-masculine folks identify as straight, like they really want that, hold that identity and being seen as the straight man, and I think that's awesome. And sometimes with that comes this weird sort of almost acceptance of misogyny, which I don't appreciate, and so I feel like for me, that dynamic in a relationship is not sexy, and so I think that's a big reason why it took me so long to identify as trans, because a lot of the folks I had met, even butch-identified folks, like I saw a lot of that embracing of this sort of like, oh, well, like women, like trying to bond with me by putting women down, and I didn't like that, and I didn't like that separation of my feminine side of myself either. Like I wasn't trying to push that for me.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to push that away. So it took, I think, a lot longer for me. Maybe not a lot longer, but it did take a while. Like it took.
That is another trap, like a transgender sort of trap you can fall into, is buying into the stereotype and the roles in a way that is misogynistic or doesn't it doesn't it's the opposite. Like some people continue this kind of oppressive story by transitioning and then taking on this,
Yeah.
what you're talking about that you don't like.
and lots of things, but it's definitely like keeping that, like constantly being open to being challenged and like if I want to have this gender fluid expression, then I also have to give that to whoever I'm dating too, and not make assumptions or sort of weird stuff about their gender.
Freedom that goes both ways.
Yeah.
And you love that.
Mm-hmm.
You really love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I do like some of the roles and things, and they do resonate or come natural, but at the same time, I don't want to make anything be like this trapping sort of boundary, that people have to follow this or that. But there's like a certain comfort in it.
Yeah, really, it's fun to find out more. I feel like it gives more openness to find out really more about yourself. And that when you have those, it really reveals, I think, more insecurity about your own self. Like if you're putting on stuff to other people, then it reveals an insecurity. That's why I think like a lot of cis guys are so homophobic. I'm like fucking phobic. Homophobic because of their own insecurities of their sexuality. The ways that they act that out of like their insecurity sometimes comes out through these sort of controlling or pushing on other people their ideas or thoughts. So I was totally like, ooh, a little high up there. But basically, it's like it's a challenge, and it's not easy. It's not always fun, and it's not always. Yeah.
Do you feel the energetic difference between us? I mean, can you feel my sexuality right now?
You're like, can you hear the? No.
I mean, it doesn't. It's not a thing for you. It's a weird question.
I mean, I think that, the way that you're portraying yourself, I'm like, oh, like, compared to somebody who might be wearing, like, really bright colors and tighter clothes and, like, a different portrayal of yourself, then it maybe gives me some clues about who you were trying to attract. But I think in general, it's like, I just don't, I'm like, oh, does that look good on you? Great.
Yeah.
And I don't really, like, care.
That's cool.
I guess I don't think about it.
Yeah,
but
that's very special, and that's kind of, to me, that's like one of the sort of qualities of the queer community. I mean, is that a quality? Because you're just not into boxes, or like.
Yeah, no, that can get annoying too. Like, okay, I'm so not in a box. I don't want any labels ever, and that's also totally valid. And sometimes it can be with enough people not wanting boxes. You're like, okay, fine.
And I just want to say this again because it was something we were talking about. What we were talking about, both of us love the outdoors and working in the outdoors. And
the joy that I got from being outside was not mitigated by the isolation that I felt in the community with mostly like white, straight, like not very politically minded people, and I felt like I wasn't able to be all of myself in those spaces as far as like my politics and my like questioning of things, and so I sought out definitely more urban spaces, I guess, more populated spaces, and also this grappling with my own identity. I feel like that was for me it happened in relation to a lot of other people
and that support network.
The network of that. So it but I still miss it. I miss it a lot. Like I was just thinking like, oh, when's the last time I've gone backpacking? Like really, it's been a long time.
We could go backpacking together.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So
I'd like to get in touch. I was just thinking about that. I'd like to get in touch with my outdoors side because it still is a big part of who I am.
That's true. Well, thanks for making the time to make a video together today. It's been really coming full circle. It's been years. Yeah. And so it like really helps this sense of growth and reflection. Meeting up from the past to to the present to the future. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. And I even learned a lot during this interview and conversation.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.